Okay, what is a black belt? Maybe you've taken martial arts. You know someone that started taking martial arts, or maybe you've been in martial arts a while and you're just wondering what does it mean to have a black belt. First of all, the belts weren't around. They haven't been around very long, maybe 140 years or so at the most. The belt system was started by Jigoro Kano, who was the founder of judo in the 1880s. And before that, belts weren't given out for rank, but people were giving certificates or scrolls, things like Menkyo Kaiden. But they were basically things that said you had achieved a certain level, but there were no belts. Jigoro Kano started that, and later others took it, namely Gijin Funakoshi, who had met Jigoro Kano, and he took the belt system also into karate. So, and it kind of just kept growing from there. Over time, different colored belts were added. There were very few belts in the beginning, but over time there have been many belts added, especially in the 1990s, 1980s, maybe even starting to 1990s, with the advent of more children getting into martial arts and people thinking that the children did better with more reinforcement, so more belts and stripes and everything were added to the belts. Just to reinforce the person, on the path more often, I guess. So that's how it started. The first black belt in Japanese is called Shodan. Shodan, or Chodan in Korean, means first stage. So getting a black belt traditionally is seen not really as the end, but it's the first stage. I tend to look at it like getting your black belt is like, let's say you're learning a trade and you need your toolbox. So getting your black belt means you know what all the tools in your toolbox do. You're not a skilled laborer at them. You don't really know how to use all them perfectly, or when, or what one would be best necessarily, but you understand the basics of the tools and how they work. And the rest of your journey through all of your black belts is a discovery of, honing the perfection of that, becoming kind of an artist with those tools, and becoming more effective and efficient with those tools also. Now, belts are not below black belt. Every style has different colored belts, and different organizations have different colored belts, but most have black belt as the final level. A lot have 10 degrees of black belt. Some have less. Some, like in Bujinkan Ninjutsu, they have, or Budo Taijutsu, they have 15 degrees of black belt. So there are many levels you can work through, and that can take like a lifetime, basically, a long, long time. Sometimes people start teaching at black belt, and that's kind of a representation of someone who can start teaching, or at least helping out at the school. Sometimes the head instructor will have the other black belts assist, which does help you reinforce your techniques and helps the school. Now, how long does it take to get a black belt? It kind of depends on the person, first of all, and it depends on the school, because not all schools are equal. Some schools are way easier to get a black belt, and some just frankly want your money, and some make you work hard, and some are, so there's and they vary per style too sometimes. So, but as a general rule, most taekwondo, karate, schools like that, maybe 3 to 5 years to get your black belt if you're training a couple days a week. But then you can look at like jiu-jitsu, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu or Gracie jiu-jitsu. That can take, I don't know what's average, maybe 10 years or so to get your black belt. And sometimes more, 14 years, Some people get it sooner, but typically it takes a long time. And that's not just training 2 days a week often, that's training, 3, 4, 5 days a week sometimes. So that's one of the harder black belts to get and takes the most time. So it differs per style. At best, the black belt is kind of just a recognition of your instructor, a recognition by your instructor that says like you've achieved a certain level within their curriculum. And at worst, I've seen it as a tool for someone's ego to walk around with their black belt or to manipulate lower belts and to boss them around. I've also seen it as a tool just to feel like a hot shot and slack off. There are many people at tournaments I've seen who I don't think they've trained in years, but they really love judging, and so they judge lower belts, but they don't do anything anymore. So that's really not, you should be staying up with the times and training throughout your life. I have a story. One of my students, she's been training with me for a long time, and somebody asked her once, they said, well, when are you going to be done? When are you going to be done with that training? What's the end? And she wasn't really sure what to say. So we discussed it one day, and she said, I wasn't really sure what to say because to her, there really isn't an end. The black belt isn't the end. Nothing's the end. This is a constant journey of improvement. The black belt is the first, like I said, the translation for Shodan is first stage or first step. There are many steps, and I guess your training should stop when you don't need to improve anymore, when you become the perfect human being, the perfect martial artist. But until then, we probably should keep training. So I guess I would say the true black belt is one who knows they're always a beginner. They always have an empty cup. They always have more room to put more knowledge in and to learn more from others and from the mistakes they make. So hopefully that was helpful, guys. If you feel like it, I would appreciate you sharing this, liking, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and we can keep making more. Thanks a lot.